I'm Dan Birchfield, school bus driver trainer for Bristol, Virginia Public Schools. Today I'll be doing a Class B CDL school bus pre-trip inspection. The purpose of this video is to provide a study guide for you in preparing for your Class B school bus skills test, the pre-trip inspection component for a certified DMV examiner. I'm going to start by looking at the bus. The bus is secured. The keys are in my pocket. The bus has no obstructions around the sides. The bus is not leaning on either side. The bus is sitting level. While I'm here, I'm going to drop down and look underneath the bus, making sure there are no wires or hoses that are hanging loose. I'm not seeing any wires or hoses hanging loose or dangling under the bus. Also looking for any fluid leaks. I'm not seeing any fluid leaks. Possible leaks could be oil, transmission fluid, radiator fluid, or power steering fluid. I'm seeing no leaks under the bus, and so it looks in good working order underneath the school bus. Start here at the top. My red stop lights are both properly mounted and secure. They're clean, they're the right color. My amber lights are both properly mounted and secure. They are clean, they are not cracked or broken, they are the right color. My top marker lights are properly mounted and secured. They are clean. They are the right color. They're not cracked or broken. My school bus sign is perfectly legible and clean, able to read. My windshield is not cracked. It's not broken. It is properly mounted and secured. My windshield wipers, they are properly mounted and secured, functioning properly. The wiper blades are not cracked or dry rotted, and they are properly secured to the windshield wipers. My right side view mirror is properly mounted and secured to the bus. My flat mirror, my convex mirror are clean. They are not broken. They're properly mounted and secured. My right crossway mirror is properly mounted and secured to the bus. It is clean. It is not cracked or broken. My right turn signal here, my right turn signal here are not cracked. They're not broken. They're properly mounted and secured. They're clean. They're the right color. My right headlight is properly mounted and secured. It is not cracked or broken. The lens is not cracked or broken. It's clean. It is the right color. My grille on the front of the bus, it is not cracked. It's not broken. It is properly mounted and secured. All the bolts are in place. My crossing arm, it is not cracked or broken. It is working properly. It is properly mounted and secured to the bus. My bumper is not missing any bolts. It is properly mounted and secured to the frame of the bus, has no non-factory welds. My license plate is clean and legible and properly mounted and secured. Moving over here, my left crossover mirror is properly mounted and secured to the bus. The mirror is clean, it is not cracked or broken. My left headlight is properly mounted and secured to the bus. The lens is clean, it's not cracked or broken. My left turn signal is not cracked, it is not broken. It is properly mounted and secured, as is the headlight. It is the right color. My left turn signal is properly mounted and secured. It's clean, it's not cracked or broken. My side view mirror is properly mounted and secured to the bus. The flat mirror, the convex mirror are clean. They're not cracked, they are not broken. They're properly mounted and secured. My stop sign is properly mounted and secured to the bus. It has no missing parts. The lights are clean. They're not cracked or broken. They're properly mounted and secured on the front and the back of the stop sign. I'm going to open my battery compartment, get inside and look at this. My battery is properly mounted and secured. There are no missing wires, and the battery is functioning properly, and it is properly mounted and secured inside the battery compartment. I'm now going to go underneath the hood of the bus and inspect the engine compartment. I'm going to start on the left side of the engine. I'm going to check the inside of the engine compartment. My transmission fluid I would check right here. You can check it hot or cold. You pull it out and pull the dipstick out and wipe it off, put it back in, check it, make sure it's at the proper level. I check my oil here. You would pull the dipstick out, wipe it off, put it back in, pull it out again, check, make sure it's at the proper level. Check my power steering fluid here. I can see in the reservoir I'm up to the proper amount that I need there. My radiator hoses, they're not cracked, they're not broken, they're properly mounted secured. I see no dry rot. My air intake hoses are properly mounted secured, there's nothing missing. My air lines here, they're not cracked, they're not broken. They're properly mounted secured, none are missing. The wires are all properly banded together. My air hoses are going down to my air compressor back here, which is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, it is not broken. The air compressor is a gear-driven component. The hoses coming off my power steering fluid reservoir are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked. There's no dry rot. They have no missing parts. They are running down to my power steering pump, which is properly mounted and secured. It has no cracks or breaks. The power steering pump is a gear-driven component. My steering column has no cracks or breaks. It is properly mounted and secured. The rubber boots here, they are not cracked, broken, or dry rotted. They're all properly mounted and secured. My steering knuckle is properly mounted and secured to the gearbox. The gearbox itself has no cracks or breaks or dents. It is properly mounted and secured to the frame. My pitman arm has no cracks or breaks. It is properly mounted and secured top and bottom. My castle nut, cotter key, and pin are in place, properly mounted and secured. My drag link, it is properly mounted and secured. It has no cracks or breaks. The castle nut, cotter key, and pin are in place. My frame has no cracks, no breaks, no non-factory welds. My shock absorber is properly mounted and secured top and bottom, has no cracks or breaks. It is not leaking. My leaf springs, my leaf spring and torque spring, properly mounted and secured. They are not broken or shifted or missing. My spring mounts are properly mounted and secured here. I also have a spring mount in the back. It is properly mounted and secured. The bushings are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, not broken, or missing, front and back. My U-bolts are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked or broken or missing. My air line and ABS line are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, they're not dry rotted. My air canister is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or broken, has no dents, no missing parts. My brake calipers are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, they're not broken, have no missing parts. My brake pads are not worn dangerously thin. My brake rotor is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, it is not broken, has no missing parts. The rim of the wheel, it is not cracked, it's not broken, has no non-factory welds. Inside the tire has no dry rot, no cracks, no bulges. The top of the tire, I see no cracks or dry rot or bulges. The tread depth is even all the way across. The front tires must have a minimum of 4/32 tread depth. You cannot run recaps on the front bus tires. The side of the tire has no cracks, no dry rot, no bulges. My rim has no cracks, no breaks, no non-factory welds. The lug nuts are all secure and tight, none are missing. A shiny spot would indicate a loose lug nut. My hub seal is properly mounted and secured. It also has no missing parts. If it was leaking, you would see a spray inside. It is not leaking. My valve stem is properly mounted and secured. My mud flap is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, it's not dry rotted, it is secured to the bus. The tires are properly inflated. If I were to take the PSI, it would read about 100 pounds. It's properly inflated. I'm now going to inspect the engine compartment on the right side of the bus. My radiator fluid reservoir is properly mounted and secured. It's filled to the proper level. If you're going to check or add to your radiator fluid reservoir, you would never take this off when it's hot. Always wait till it is cooled down to add any radiator fluid. My air intake manifold is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, it's not broken. There are no missing parts. My air intake line here is not cracked, it's not broken or dented. It is not leaking. All of my hoses here are not cracked, they're not broken. The radiator hoses I see here coming across, they're not cracked, they're not dry rotted. They are all properly mounted and secured. My alternator is properly mounted and secured to the engine of the bus. It's not cracked, it's not broken, has no missing parts. The alternator is a belt-driven component. My water pump down here in front of the engine, it is not cracked, it's not broken, has no missing parts. It is properly mounted and secured. The water pump is also a belt-driven component. My serpentine belt is properly mounted and secured. It's not dry rotted, cracked, shredded, or twisted. I can push in the middle of the belt to see I have between 1/2 inch and 3/4 inches of play and no more, as it should be. My windshield wiper fluid reservoir is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, it's not leaking. It is filled to the proper level. The frame here at the front of the bus is not cracked. I see no non-factory welds. Also, my spring mounts here in the front are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, they're not broken. The bushings are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, broken, or missing. The spring mount in the back, it also is not cracked or broken. The spring mount in the back is properly mounted and secured, and there are no missing parts. My leaf spring and torque spring are properly mounted and secured. They are not cracked, broken, or shifted, and none are missing. My U-bolts are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, they're not broken, they have no missing parts. My shock absorber on the right side of the engine is not cracked, it is not broken, it is not leaking. It is properly secured bottom and the top. Also, my brake line, my ABS line and my brake line, those are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, they are not dry rotted, they are not leaking. My brake canister is properly mounted and secured. The air canister, it's not cracked or dented, it is not leaking, has no missing parts. My brake calipers are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, they're not broken, have no missing parts. My rotors, my brake rotors, are properly mounted and secured, no missing parts, they're not cracked or broken. The inside of the tire, it has no bulges, no cracks, no dry rot. The top of the tire, the tread depth has to be at least 4/32 of an inch, and it is all the way across. The top of the tire, I see no cracks, dry rot, or bulges. Side of the tire, I'm looking for any cracks, dry rot, or bulges, not seeing any. The tire, if we took the PSI of the tire, it'd be about 100 PSI, as it should be. The rim, looking for any cracks, breaks, dents, I'm not seeing any. The rim is properly mounted and secured. The air valve stem is properly mounted and secured, it is not broken. The lug nuts are properly mounted and secured, none are missing. A shiny spot would indicate that one was loose. They're all good and tight. Hub seal, properly mounted and secured, is not leaking. See no cracks, no breaks. All the bolts are good and tight. If the hub seal was leaking, we would see a circular spray, but it's not leaking, there's no missing parts, and it's firmly secured, properly mounted and secured. My front mud flap here, it's not cracked, it's not broken, it's not dry rotted, it is properly mounted and secured. I'm now going to inspect the right side outside the bus. My top marker light is properly mounted and secured. It is clean, it is the right color, not cracked or broken. If my dash board light indicator indicated that I was low on diesel exhaust fluid, I would add some here. I'm going to go ahead and check and make sure that this is properly mounted and secured, that my rubber sealing is not cracked or dry rotted. It is not cracked or dry rotted. The seal is in place. Is where I would add my DEF fluid. My door is working properly. The hinges are functioning properly. The rubber sealing here is not cracked, broken, or dry rotted. My right turn signal, it's properly mounted and secured. It is not cracked, it is not broken. It is properly mounted and secured. It is the right color. Look at the windows, make sure they're not cracked or broken. My bumper guards outside the bus are properly mounted and secured. My DOT reflective tape is properly mounted and secured. Marker light here in the middle, it is not cracked, it is not broken. It is properly mounted and secured, it is the right color. My reflector is properly mounted secured. It is not cracked, it is not broken, it is the right color. This time I'm going to inspect underneath the bus. I'm now checking underneath the bus. Right now I'm inspecting the bus frame. I'm looking for any cracks, dents, breaks, non-factory welds. I'm not seeing any. The frame is in good condition. The drivetrain, I'm looking for any cracks or dents. I'm not seeing any. Also, the drivetrain is properly mounted and secured. The safety loops here and there and back here, they are properly mounted and secured. They are not cracked or broken. My exhaust system, the muffler, is properly mounted and secured. I don't see any dents or cracks or breaks in the muffler. My exhaust pipe is properly mounted and secured. I see no dents or cracks or breaks. A dark spot would indicate a leak. The air tank here is properly mounted and secured. Don't see any cracks, dents, or breaks, and no missing parts. I'm now going to get up underneath the bus and continue this inspection back toward the inside of the tire and the brake chamber. I'm now going to inspect the rear suspension system and brake system. My spring mounts here and here are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, they're not broken, no missing parts. My leaf springs are not cracked, they're not broken, they're not shifted, none are missing. My U-bolts are properly mounted and secured, they're not cracked, they're not broken, they are properly mounted and secured, as are the leaf springs properly mounted and secured. My brake lines right here, they're not cracked, they're not shredded, they're not dry rotted, they're not leaking. My air canister has no dents or cracks or breaks. It is properly mounted and secured. My calipers, brake calipers, are properly mounted and secured. There are no missing parts. My rotor is not cracked, it is not broken. It is properly mounted and secured. The brake pads are not worn dangerously thin. The rim, I see no cracks, no dents or breaks in the rim. It is properly mounted and secured. I'm now examining the inside of the tire. I don't see any cracks, bulges, or dry rot. The tread here is evenly worn all the way across. The rear tires have to have a minimum tread depth of 2/32, and they are all the way across both tires. The inside of the tires here, there's no cracks, dry rot, or bulging. In between the split rim, the rim itself has no cracks or breaks. The tires and the rim are properly mounted and secured. You can run retreads on these back tires. I'm going to inspect the outside of the rear tire. I'm looking for any cracks, bulges, or dry rot on the tire. I'm not seeing any. The tire, if we were to test the PSI here, the tire would be about 100 pounds, which is properly inflated. I'm also looking here at the rim, looking for any cracks or breaks in the rim, not seeing any. The rim is properly mounted and secured. My lug nuts here on the rim, they're all good and tight and secure, properly mounted. A shiny spot under a lug nut would indicate that one of them was loose, and none of them are loose. My axle seal is properly mounted and secure. It is not leaking. All the lug nuts are good and tight. A shiny spot would indicate one was loose. None are loose, none are missing. The axle seal, if it was leaking, there would be a splatter here inside the rim, and there is no splatter, so it is not leaking. My valve stem is probably mounted and secured here inside the rim. There are no missing parts here on the rim itself. It's in good working order. Continuing to inspect the outside on the right side of the bus. No cracks or breaks in any of the windows. My bumper guards here are in good shape. My DOT reflective tape also is properly mounted and secured. My rear mud flap is not cracked or dry rotted. It is properly mounted and secured. Would add fuel here. I'm going to check and make sure my fuel cap is properly mounted and secured, that the rubber seal is in place, is not dry rotted, cracked, or broken, and it is in good condition. Close the fuel door here. Look underneath the bus, just I'm now inspecting the rear underside of the bus. The bus frame back here, I'm looking for cracks, breaks, non-factory welds. I'm not seeing any. The exhaust pipe in the back of the bus is properly mounted secured. Again, looking for any cracks, dents, or breaks in the exhaust pipe, or looking for any dark spots that would indicate a leak. I'm seeing none of those. My airbags are both properly mounted and secured. Be looking for cracks or breaks or tears. I'm not seeing any. They're both in good condition. My fuel tank is properly mounted and secured. Be looking for leaks, cracks, dents in the fuel tank. I'm not seeing any. The fuel tank cage is properly mounted and secured, not cracked or broken. And I see no breaks or cracks in the fuel tank cage. My top rear marker light is not cracked, it's not broken. It is the right color, it is properly mounted and secured. My reflector on the rear of the bus is not cracked, broken. It is properly mounted and secured, it is the right color. I'm now going to inspect the back rear of the school bus. Starting at the top, my top marker lights are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, they're not broken. They are the right color, they're clean. My school bus sign is clean and legible. Both of my red stoplights on both sides are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, they're not broken. They are the right color. My amber warning lights on both sides, they are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, they're not broken. They are the right color, functioning properly. My back glass here is not cracked or broken, properly mounted and secured. My emergency door sign is in place. It is legible. My left turn signal on this side, not cracked, not broken. It is properly mounted and secured. It's the right color. My left brake light is properly mounted and secured. It is the right color, not cracked or broken. My left reverse light, it is also properly mounted and secured. It is not cracked or broken. It's the right color. My right turn signal, it's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or broken. It's the right color. My right upper brake light, it's not cracked or broken. It's properly mounted and secured. It's the right color. My right reverse light is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or broken. It is the right color. My lower right brake light is properly mounted and secured. It is not cracked or broken. It's clean. It's the right color. My lower right reflector is properly mounted and secured. It is not cracked or broken. It's clean. It is the right color. My lower left brake light is not cracked or broken. It's properly mounted and secured. It is the right color. My lower left reflector is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or broken. It is the right color. My license plate is properly mounted and secured. My license plate light, to have that illuminated at night, is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or broken, and it is functioning properly. I'm now going to open the bus door, make sure it's functioning properly. My hinges are properly mounted and secured. They are functioning properly. The bus door moves and opens properly. The emergency exit here, the caging is in place. It's properly mounted and secured. The handle working properly. The rubber seals in here, they're not cracked, broken, or dry rotted. They're all in place to keep any exhaust from getting into the inside of the bus that might affect the student passengers. It is working properly. The handle is working properly. As you can see, opens and closes just fine. The rear bumper is properly mounted and secured to the frame of the bus, not cracked or not broken. All the bolts are in place, has no cracks, breaks, no non-factory welds. And the exhaust tailpipe is not sticking out beyond the bumper, so it too is properly mounted and secured. I'm now going to inspect the inside of the bus, starting with the stairwell and then into the driver compartment. My handrails are properly mounted and secured inside the bus that a student can hold on to getting on and off the bus. The steps, there's no obstructions. The rubber matting is properly mounted and secured. There's nothing here loose, cracked, or dry rotted that could cause a passenger to trip. My no trespassing sign is legible and in place. My stairwell light is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, it's not broken, it's the right color. My fire extinguisher is properly mounted and secured. It is fully charged and up to date. My first aid kit is fully stocked. It is properly mounted and secured. My body fluid cleanup kit, it is fully stocked. It is properly mounted and secured. My reflective triangles box is properly mounted and secured. It does contain 3 reflective triangles. In the event of an emergency stop or breakdown, I could have these emergency triangles to place outside of the bus. I'm now going to inspect the driver compartment, making sure that my seat is properly mounted and secured, and my seat works just fine. It's in good working order. My seat belt is not frayed, it's not cracked or shredded or damaged in any way. My seat belt is functioning properly. I'm now going to do a safe start here on the bus. Turn to auxiliary and get the bus started. Once the bus is running, all my gauges come up. I'm going to begin inspecting the inside of the bus. Now I'm going to inspect the left side panel of the driver compartment. Start here with my passenger heater. I can hear it, it's working, it's functioning properly. My driver dome light is on. That light is properly mounted and secured. It's working properly. Now my dome lights for the bus, they are properly mounted and secured. The lights are working properly. They're not cracked or broken. They're all the right color. My red warning lights indicator, that will come on when I engage my red stop lights. My amber warning lights indicator, which will come on when I engage my amber warning lights. My railroad cancel switch, which I would use when I open my door to keep my red lights from coming on and my stop sign from coming out. My amber light switch and cancel button are here. My door switch is here, which I can use to open my door, and it's functioning properly. Also, my master cancel button is here. It's working properly. My post-trip inspection light is here. That will come on when I shut the engine off, indicating as a reminder I need to go back and check the back of the bus, see if there might be any students asleep back there, as a reminder to the driver. My strobe light switch is working. I know the strobe light is working. I saw it a little while ago when we were outside the bus. My internal, external speaker, I use this as an intercom to speak to students in the back of the bus. It is functioning properly. My active noise alert is functioning properly. I would use this if the radio was on, the heater was on. This shuts all those off when I come to a railroad crossing. My mirror heater is functioning properly. If I have ice on the mirrors, it will melt that off. My windshield defroster fan is working properly. My driver's side fan, it also is working properly. I'm now going to inspect all my lights, make sure those are working properly. My headlights turn on right here, and my high beam switch is right here, switching it to high beams. This turns them off. This is just the marker lights without the headlights on. Could run those if I needed to. Also, my left turn signal indicator is working. My right turn signal indicator is working. My brake light, emergency parking brake light is on because the parking brake is engaged. It is working. I know when I started the engine a little while ago that my ABS light came on. It also was working. My four-way hazard lights, they are working. I can see them flashing the mirror as I can see my turn signals. My amber lights are working properly. Amber warning lights, I can see those on. When I engage my red stop lights, my stop sign comes out. I can see those lights are flashing, working properly. My crossing arm comes out. It is working properly. And then open my door. It also is working properly. This also shows me that my red warning light indicator is on. I can close my door. When I turn my amber lights, my amber light indicator warning light comes on. It's all functioning properly. And when I engage my reverse gear, the rear reverse lights will be illuminated and flashing. I'm going to begin inspecting the gauges here on the dash. The oil pressure indicator gauge is functioning properly. It's reading about 46 psi, which is normal. My water temperature right now is reading about 100 degrees, but that's because the bus has been sitting a little while. When I'm driving, it'll probably get closer to about 150. It's all perfectly normal. My odometer is functioning properly. My voltmeter is reading at about 14 volts. It's functioning properly. My parking brake indicator is on because the parking brake is engaged. My fuel gauge is, we got plenty of fuel, almost full tank. It's functioning properly. My diesel exhaust fluid indicator, I've got 2 green bars, meaning I've got plenty of diesel exhaust fluid. My tachometer is working properly, functioning just fine. My speedometer is working properly. It was working fine a little while ago. We drove it here, but it is working properly as far as we know. My primary air pressure gauge is reading at about 120, which is between perfectly normal. It's going to read most of the time between 100, 110, 120 was perfectly normal. My secondary air pressure gauge also reading about 120, which is perfectly normal. Again, a reading between 100, 110, 120 is perfectly normal. My gear switch, it's all working properly. Can run all the way down through these gears. It's working properly. Here on the bus, I've got a 20-inch wheel with no more than just 2 or 3 inches of play. It's working properly, probably mount secured, and also my horn is in good working order. I'm going to check my defroster. It is working properly, as all the heater switches here, either coming out here or down at my feet or up top of the defrost. And my temperature switch, control the temperature, it also is working properly. My dashboard compartment contains spare fuses. Also my seatbelt cutter, should there be an accident, I need to extricate myself quickly from my seatbelt. Also my Virginia inspection sticker is here in the windshield. It is probably mount secured, it is up to date. My student mirror is probably mount secured, it's clean, and it's I can see any movement back there. My sun visor is probably mount secured, can be adjusted depending on how the sun is shining. At this point, I'm going to cut off my engine and begin the air brake test. I'm going to inspect my service brake and my accelerator. The service brake is working properly, it is properly mounted and secured. The rubber padding on the service brake, it's not cracked, it's not broken or dry rotted or missing, and it's properly mounted and secured. My accelerator is working properly. The rubber padding on the accelerator is not cracked or dry rotted, causing my foot to slip on it. It's all properly mounted and secured. The accelerator also and service brake both working properly. I'm now going to inspect the parking brake to make sure that it holds properly when it is engaged, and I give the bus some fuel by pushing on the accelerator. When I put the bus in drive and give it some fuel, the bus should hold properly, it should not go forward. So the parking brake is engaged, I'm going to push in on my service brake, put the gear of the bus in drive. I'm now going to give the bus a little fuel. It is not going forward, which indicates that the parking brakes are holding and working properly. I'm now going to disengage the parking brake, put the bus in drive, drive forward just a little bit, engage my service brake. The bus does come to a stop, the brakes are functioning properly, and I will re-engage my parking brake. I'm now going to begin the other part of the air brake test. I'm going to begin with shutting my engine off and disengaging my parking brake. I'm now going to put the key to auxiliary. Let all my gauges come up. I'm going to hold in my service brake. After the initial drop, shouldn't drop more than 2 or 3 pounds. It should not drop any more at a minute's time. I would then hold it for 1 minute. The primary, secondary air pressure gauges are not moving at all, as I didn't think that they would. Now I'm going to imagine I just held it for 1 minute. The examiner will want you to hold it for 1 minute. At this time, with the parking brake disengaged, I'm going to begin fanning down my brake pedal. When I get to about 50, 60 PSI, you'll hear a warning buzzer come on, the warning light will come on. When I get down to about 45, maybe 35 PSI, my parking brake is going to pop back on. I'm now going to begin fanning down my brakes. The warning light and indicate low air indicator is coming on. You hear the buzzer, you see the warning. It says low air. Get a little further down, my parking brake should pop out at about 45, maybe 40 psi. About 45 psi, my parking brake did pop on. So that indicates that my air brakes are working properly. I'm now going to do a safe start the engine of the bus, and let the air pressure come back up again. Let my gauges all come up. Do a safe start. And in just a minute or two, my air pressure will come back up as the air tanks build pressure back up again. Having completed my air brake test, determined that my air brakes are functioning properly, I'm going to inspect the inside of the bus now. Check my seats, make sure those are properly mounted and secured. Looking at the floor matting here, looking for any dry rot or anything that are cracking in the matting that might cause a student passenger to trip and fall. I'm not seeing any. All my seats are also properly mounted and secured, and the floor matting is in good condition. I'm now going to check my emergency hatches, my emergency exits in the event of an emergency. We're going to have to get some students off the bus safely. If the bus were to wind up on its side, you could open this emergency hatch by pulling this switch to exit, hitting this firmly with both hands, it'll pop right open. Another emergency exit is right here. When I turn this switch, a buzzer will go off, indicating the switch has been turned. You can push that open, and an emergency go right out this window. That is working properly. I'll now inspect the one on this side. In the event of an emergency, you could get a student off, a passenger off on this side. Again, the buzzer will go off. You can push that open to get someone to exit out this side of the bus in the event of an emergency. I'm now going to inspect the rear emergency door exit here on the school bus. The emergency door sign, do not block. It's probably mounted secured, it's legible. The padding here to keep a student from hitting their head going out this emergency exit in the event of an emergency evacuation is probably mounted secured. The padding's in place. I'm going to go ahead and open the door, make sure it's functioning properly. When I pull the handle up, make sure the handle's working properly. A buzzer will go off indicating that the emergency exit has been opened. We'll pull up on that. As you can hear, the emergency buzzer is going off. The door is functioning properly. Open and close it just fine. You can open that up, prop it open in case student passengers need to exit out the back in the event of some kind of an emergency. When I close the door, the emergency buzzer will go off by bringing the handle down. All this is in good working order and functioning properly. This now completes the Class B school bus pre-trip inspection. But remember, when you take your skills test, your examiner will give you opportunity to go back and check any parts of the bus, any components you may have missed. Thank you and good luck.